The current chair of the Federal Reserve co-authored an academic paper that specifically names XRP as a liquidity solution between stablecoins in the future global payment system. This is not a rumor. This is a documented, published paper with Kevin Worsh's name directly on it. And when you combine that with the fact that the former SEC chair said the same thing from his classroom at MIT years before he ever became a regulator, a pattern emerges that is impossible to dismiss. Today, we break down the Kevin Worsh paper, what it means for XRP, where the Clarity Act actually stands right now, and what the Bitcoin market structure is telling us about what comes next. This is XRP Verified. Let us get into it. Let us start with the discovery that is genuinely one of the most significant things to emerge in the XRP space in years. Researcher Tom McGuinn surfaced a paper co-authored by Kevin Worsh, the current chair of the Federal Reserve, that explicitly names XRP as a liquidity aggregator and bridge currency solution between stablecoin transfers in a cross-border payment system. The paper describes a framework where two parties transacting across different currencies use XRP as the neutral middle asset, the liquidity source that enables the exchange without either party needing to pre-fund accounts in the other's currency. This is the exact use case Ripple has been building toward for over a decade, and the man who wrote it, before he became the most powerful monetary official in the United States, put his name on it. Now here is why this matters beyond the surface level. This is not a politician saying something supportive about crypto at a campaign event. This is an academic framework paper. It is peer-reviewed. It is documented. It is on the public record. Kevin Worsh was not trying to win votes when he wrote it. He was solving an infrastructure problem, and the solution he co-authored named XRP specifically as the mechanism that makes it work. For anyone who has ever wondered whether the highest levels of the financial establishment actually understand what XRP does, this paper is your answer. They understand. They have understood for a long time. And the man now sitting in the Federal Reserve chair was one of the people working through the mechanics of it in writing. And Kevin Worsh is not the first senior financial official to go on record about XRP in this way. Years before Gary Gensler became the SEC chair that sued Ripple, while he was still a professor at MIT, he gave a lecture in which he specifically called out Ripple and XRP as a leader in the space of using a neutral bridge currency as a liquidity aggregator for cross-border settlement. He went out of his way to name it. He described it as one of the best and most important ideas happening in cross-border payments. Then, years later, the same man became the regulator that launched a lawsuit against the company he publicly praised. The timeline raises questions that no one in mainstream financial media has ever seriously asked. And now, we have a second senior figure, the current Federal Reserve chair, with XRP documented in his own academic work. The IMF references it. The BIS explores it. JP Morgan settles on it. Mastercard transacts on it. And the Fed chair wrote about it. At some point, the pattern speaks for itself. Now let us talk about where the Clarity Act actually stands. Because the path forward is clear, but the obstacles are real. Senator Marino confirmed the bill passed 15-9 bipartisan out of the Senate Banking Committee. That result is significant. But the next phase is harder. The bill now needs to be merged with separate committee versions. Ethics language needs additional committee approval. Technical refinements need to align with the Genius Act, and then it needs floor time from the majority leader. And after all of that, it needs 60 votes in the Senate to break a filibuster. Not 51, 60. The current Senate has 53 Republicans. That means 7 Democrats must cross the aisle. 7 senators who are, right now, being targeted by anti-crypto mailers, advertisements, and coordinated political campaigns in their home states. Brad Sherman, one of the most persistent anti-crypto voices in Congress, is actively sending out district mailers bashing crypto and tying it to Trump as a political liability. Elizabeth Warren is still in the fight. The anti-crypto coalition did not disappear when the political winds shifted. They regrouped. And they are playing the 60-vote math very deliberately. President Trump posted directly about this on Truth Social, specifically defending the CFTC's authority and stating that America is currently the crypto, Bitcoin, and XRP capital of the world, and that other countries are trying to replace us in that capacity, and we will not let that happen. That is a sitting president explicitly naming XRP in a statement about protecting American financial leadership. The political will at the executive level is there. The legislative math at the Senate level is the remaining obstacle. July is the realistic target. The window is real, but it is not guaranteed. Now let us address Bitcoin and the broader market, because the technical picture matters for understanding where XRP sits in this cycle. Bitcoin is currently holding support at the $75,000 level. That is a meaningful floor, but the technical indicators are showing weakness. The MACD on the daily chart is bear-controlled. The RSI has room to fall further before reaching oversold territory. The most likely scenario, based on current structure, is what analysts are calling a shallow bear market. Bitcoin potentially testing the $60,000 area before recovering and moving toward new all-time highs in the fourth quarter. The key point is that this is not a catastrophic breakdown scenario. It is a normal cycle compression before the next expansion. And in that environment, the assets with the strongest institutional fundamentals tend to outperform when the expansion begins. XRP's on-chain metrics, ETF inflows, and real-world asset growth are all building during this compression period. That is exactly what you want to see. There is also meaningful development happening directly on the XRP ledger that most people are overlooking right now. A new draft amendment called AMM Swappable Curves is working through the XRP ledger amendment process. If it passes, it would upgrade the XRP ledger's automated market maker by adding 3 new curve types: constant product, concentrated liquidity, and stable swap, with a programmable smart AMM to follow. In plain English, this would let liquidity providers choose how their pools price assets, dramatically improving capital efficiency for both volatile trading pairs and near one-to-one assets like stablecoins. This matters because the XRP ledger already has over $3 billion in tokenized real-world assets and a confirmed JP Morgan pilot sitting on it. Adding more sophisticated DeFi infrastructure on top of that foundation compounds the network's utility for the institutional players who are already there. One more development deserves acknowledgement. Nathan Allman, the founder and CEO of Ondo Finance, passed away unexpectedly this week. Ondo Finance has been one of the most significant players in real-world asset tokenization on the XRP ledger. Their tokenized U.S. Treasury products represent hundreds of millions of dollars in institutional capital deployed on the ledger. Nathan was young, brilliant, and was actively building some of the most important infrastructure in the tokenized asset space. His work has already made a permanent impact on this ecosystem, and that work continues through the team he built. Our thoughts are with his family and everyone at Ondo Finance. Let me bring all of this together. The current Federal Reserve Chair co-authored a paper naming XRP as the bridge currency solution for the global payment system. The former SEC chair said the same thing from his classroom before he became a regulator. The IMF, the BIS, JP Morgan, Mastercard, the DTCC, every major institutional name in global finance has XRP in their documentation, their partnerships, or their live transactions. The Clarity Act is moving toward a July floor vote with the 60-vote threshold as the final battle. Bitcoin is in a shallow compression phase, with institutional buyers still accumulating at these levels. The XRP ledger is adding DeFi infrastructure on top of $4.7 billion in real-world assets. And a sitting U.S. president named XRP directly in a statement about protecting American financial leadership. The pattern is not a coincidence. It has never been a coincidence. Stay informed, stay patient, stay positioned. If this video gave you real value today, subscribe to XRP Verified. I cover these developments every single day, so you always know what is happening before the rest of the market figures it out. I will see you in the next one.